Hi everyone, Brandon Sherbert here with Beacon Financial Group, your most trusted investment advisor. Thanks for watching our Talk to an Expert video series. We're passionate about helping people take charge of their financial future. We understand that life has its challenges, and that's why we have a network of trusted professionals and resources to support you at every step. So if you're ready to get serious about your financial independence, let's chat. I'd love to be your advocate and help you have a successful, worry-free retirement. Enjoy the video. Hi, today we have top producing realtor Rebecca Lee with Monument Realty. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me.
In working with my clients and discussing your financial planning needs, real estate is an important topic that always comes up. We know that all eyes have been on interest rates here over the last couple of years. Can you please give us your take on how these expected rate cuts will affect the real estate market in North Texas?
Well, my hope is that they actually do drop the rates. They've alluded to that, and nothing's really happened this year. They've kind of held steady. And so I feel like a lot of the buyers have been on the sidelines waiting for that to happen, and we just haven't seen it. What has happened that's been kind of good is a lot of the builders and the new builds have tried to compensate with rate buy downs and other alternatives. So a lot of people have flocked to the new builds because they're offering some of those bonuses. The truth is you can actually get that with a pre-existing home. You just have to negotiate that compensation in when you're writing your offer. But really that's the only way we've really seen people get off the fence, is to have this alternative of these buy downs.
Yeah, that's a good point. Speaking of interest rates, we've been watching it, on the stock market side of things, and I'm tired of talking about it. I think we all are. But you're right. We went from an environment where they were talking about cutting 4 and 5 times back in 23, and we saw zero. Here we are over halfway through 24. The stock market certainly has some rates baked into it. More than likely we'll see something in September. But even if we do see those kinds of cuts, it doesn't really help too much on that 30-year mortgage, right? If we're going from 6.5 to maybe 6 or 5 3/4. So I think it's an environment where the consumer really has to kind of get used to this. Interest rates we discussed, let's talk a little bit about the inventory, because I know that there was very little of it on the market there for a while, and you said the other day on the phone that it was kind of opening up a little bit. Tell me about what you're seeing now.
Sure. So the good news is for buyers, it's actually a great time. Our inventory up in May was up 76%. Wow. We haven't seen that number for a long time. So the good news is if you're buying, especially first-time home buyers and like investors, it's actually a great time. There's a lot on the market. I just had a relocation family come in about 2 weeks ago from Virginia, and I had so many options to show them, and it was wonderful because 2 years ago we were knocking on people's doors begging them to sell houses because we just didn't have enough houses, and now we don't have that problem. But on the flip side, if you're selling, there's a lot of competition, including new builds. And so you definitely need to be pricing it right, and you really want the condition to be move-in ready. Anything less than those two things, and those houses are sitting on the market quite a long time.
And that's where an awesome agent comes into play, right?
Absolutely.
Helping you be able to price it where you need it to sell, or if you're the buyer, on what to expect or what the market really looks like. Speaking of with prices, some of the more affordable homes, right, and some of the high end tend to be what's moving the most. That's interesting. I know relocates have slowed down a little bit. At least that's what I've read. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about the price points there and how that's working out recently?
Sure. So what I've been seeing, this year especially, the lower end seems to be moving pretty well. The 300 to 500, even up into 600 seems to be still doing pretty well. Once we hit 700, for some reason, that just kind of stalls. And what's crazy is my higher end seems to be doing well too. Like over 1.5, I had a house on the market for 2 weeks, and it was 1.7. We're under contract. So it's the people that have a lot of money, or the people that have just starting out. But that in between is, for some reason, it's suffering a little bit.
Interesting. And you're talking about mainly Collin County, right?
Collin County, Denton County, Dallas. Just the whole Metroplex generally. And certain counties perform better than others. But Collin County, I feel like, has taken a pretty substantial hit, just because I think our inventory there has increased quite a bit, and we have a lot of new builds.
There's a ton of new builds. I know they're all over my neighborhood, right? Surrounding me there. And North Frisco. So let's talk about the NAR settlement. I know that everyone's talking about it. The buzz out there is that realtors are going to now work for free, and transparency is what it's all about. Tell us a little bit about how that's really affecting the real estate market.
Well, it hasn't quite hit yet. It actually starts over the next few weeks. So you will see those changes coming, and it will affect the whole industry. It's going to affect everybody basically that wants to buy and sell a home. The biggest thing will be you really need to hire a solid agent, somebody that has produced and knows what they're doing in the industry. Negotiation skills are going to be the most important thing going forward. Based on the NAR settlement, all agents are going to be required to have their buyers sign a buyer agreement. And in that agreement, it stipulates the commission that they're going to be paid. Now it'll be up to that agent how they negotiate every offer and what compensation will be included in that offer. So if there's a discrepancy or a difference, the buyer will actually be on the hook to cover that. A lot of buyers don't want to sign those reps currently, but our hands will be tied. We get fined if we don't have those in place. So it's a big issue. And for the sellers, they can still offer compensation. It's kind of up to them. But the benefit to sellers at this point would be they can see the whole offer and what those numbers look like without having to pre-assign a commission in place. Now they can even pay more commission if they like, or they can pay less, but it could affect that offer. It could affect if the buyer wants to move forward with that offer too, because some buyers aren't going to want to compensate their agent. They're going to want the sellers to do it.
Interesting. Well, it's certainly been an interesting time over the last few years, and it just continues to be interesting. We'll see how things evolve over the next 6 to 12 months, and maybe you can come back and give us an update,
for sure.
On things here in the North Texas area. If you have questions for Rebecca, you can contact her directly. And as always, I'm available to discuss any of your financial needs. And remember, everyone, forget the amateurs, talk to an expert.